Another fantasy football weekend is almost in the books. We have a Monday night matchup tonight, but we're going to give you some information anyway. He's the calculator. I'm Mr. 411. This is the 411 Sports World Show, Fantasy Football Edition. Calculator, are you ready?
Greetings and salutation, Mr. 411, and I am ready when you are.
All right, we got a big surprise on this episode. I can't
Yes,
wait for
sir.
you to
Big
reveal it
time. Big time.
later on. Let's go. All right, we're back, calculator.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. The weekend is almost in the books. The matchup tonight. Refresh me on the matchup for tonight, calculator.
We got Washington versus Seattle at Washington. The
Yeah,
reason I
and
know that is because being a Mahomes owner, I went out there and picked up Heineke as my replacement for this week in the 411 listener league. So and I'm still within striking distance, Mr. 411.
all
The
right.
guy I'm playing, he left it open for me. He should have put me away when I lost my top pick early in the game. So he couldn't put me away.
He pulled one of those moves like in WWE. You
That's
know
right.
how
Oh,
when the guy has Hulk Hogan beat,
oh
but
yeah.
he put him in the finisher, but then he decides to pull him up instead of taking the three
Yeah.
count.
And then he starts looking to the crowd, wanting
Yeah,
people to start chanting his name. And then now I'm starting to feel it though.
yeah.
I
He
just need a
started.
couple early drives by Mr. Heineke.
There you go. You're gonna Hulk up. You're gonna
Yes,
Hulk
sir.
up. All right. Well, that makes it interesting. Yeah, I was just being a little funny there because you know, my Seahawks are playing tonight. I'm
Mhm.
not really excited about it because the team's been struggling in more ways than one. But it is the Seattle Washington game. I love to say that, the Seattle
Oh yeah,
Washington game.
Seattle,
So
Washington.
yes, sir. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. There's
Yeah.
definitely some fantasy implications there. There was some questions that we had on our last episode dealing with Russell Wilson and should you start him or should you not? There's the Buffalo Wild Wings crew. There was some questions asked there last week about should they start Burrows or
Mhm.
Russell Wilson? And
Yeah.
we kind of good idea how that turned out, right, calculator?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we don't know how it turned out yet because we still haven't seen Russell Wilson today. But
Yeah.
Burrow did his. He did what he needed to do. If it wasn't for such a blowout, he could have had even more points. But Joe Mixon just had himself a day, and just I mean he was. Although Burrow that 1 yard sneak where he kind of I thought they were just going to give it to Mixon the whole time, but Burrow said, "Hey, let me get in on some of this early," and Pittsburgh when they just went and swapped, ran on to Mixon. It was funny. Burrow was easy to go in, and of course T Higgins. I mean, he has all those receivers. It's crazy that Burrow did as good as he did, and Jamar Chase. Didn't
Yes.
have a day, so that just goes to
Um,
show you Burrow has other people he can go to help him out with his fantasy production.
and we're going to talk about that when we get into our listener league because I have
Yes,
Higgins on my roster,
yes.
and someone on here did not play Higgins, and was definitely kicking himself for that. But it looks like it may still work out in that person's favor. But you're right
Okay.
about that. So that's a good point about Burrow. But welcome everybody to the show. We're gonna discuss studs and duds. We're gonna give a review of what happened over the weekend. And if any discussion or any questions that you may have or comments, please send them in. We will share them. And if you post your comments on our YouTube page, we will respond. So please do those things because the calculator loves to share information. He
Yes, sir.
loves to help everyone in the fantasy world. This man has played in I think, over 40 something leagues, right?
Well, 40,
Not
40 leagues in just the past 3 years.
right. I mean, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. So,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
you are a
But
fantasy football,
you know,
savant.
And the good thing is, and I try to play in all leagues so I can have a broad, so because our listeners probably aren't in just one league, they probably play different leagues. So like this year, just to give you an example, I had dipped my toe into what they call the Guillotine League, which was new to me, but I found it on one of the podcasts I like to listen to. It sounded interesting, and to my credit, I'm still alive in two of those leagues. Those are the leagues where, hey, if you have the lowest score in the league, you're out. You start out with 18 teams and you play through the whole season. And I'm very fortunate to make it this far.
Yeah.
I love to play PPR. Hey, I even have a non PPR league for the people that don't play PPR leagues. One of my very first leagues I ever played in right out of college in '97 was one of those production leagues, almost touchdown only. You only got points if your person
Whew,
had over
that's
100
tough.
yards rushing. No point, no PPR. I gradually inserted myself. I was the young blood. A lot of these were older people in a work league, and I gradually got them to count 1 yard for every 10 yards. Or like a point for every 10 yards, and then 25 for the quarterback. But anyways, and then now I actually got them to a PPR league
Hmm.
a couple years ago, and everybody's liking. As I said, why do you not like? Why wouldn't you like to score more? I mean, hey, that's what football does. They want people to score, and that's what PPR leagues. But hey, that's why I still do the non PPR league for all our people that aren't interested in PPR leagues.
Right.
So that's why I try to do a little bit of everything, and that's why I play in so many leagues just so I can get a feel. Oh, and I do auction leagues, and
You
standard
name it.
snake drafts, and yeah. So if you have a question for any league, I'll do my best to answer.
Absolutely. And calculator. The way that the people can stay in touch and stay in tune with everything is to do the following.
Like, subscribe, notify. Yep. And hey, the notification, we always say you don't want to leave that out because waiver wires, it's a lot of some people first come, first serve. So you got to get those bids in quickly.
Right. And I'm gonna give you an instance. I'm gonna give you a story. I was at a local restaurant and I just kind of overheard a couple people discussing their fantasy experience with football and how their seasons are progressing. And we had a little discussion. And at the end of the discussion, this gentleman right here, let me see, this gentleman right here, Danny Slaughter. And we appreciate Danny Slaughter for his comment here. Great call, said Wilson. Danny was one of those individuals that did the three things, and I'm certain that he's benefiting from that. And so, Danny, we appreciate you. We appreciate the comment. Keep listening. Keep following. We love you.
Yeah, we love all our listeners, and that's why you wanted to get that claim out for Cedric Wilson before the word got out for people. So we said, hey, you want to be the first to get the guy, and then of course he paid off in a big time on Thanksgiving Day.
Absolutely. All right, well, calculator. Let's go over a couple news and notes. Just throw a couple things out there, any little injuries or anything like that.
Sure. Two major injuries, actually. The top two picks overall, in most drafts, Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey suffered injuries that will force them to miss time. Unfortunately, McCaffrey's injury is placing him on IR, and they have that little designation. Once you get that second IR designation on the season, that usually your season's pretty much over. He finished with 18 points per game despite the injuries, but season-ending injuries in consecutive years is limited to just 10 games in 2 years. Cook injury is more, and see, I want to bring that up because a lot of people say, why, if somebody knows that they're going to go miss 3 games, why do they not put them on IR early on in the season? Well, that's why. You got to say for the IR in case that somebody has to get on that IR for a second time, don't want to miss the season. So, but on the other side, Cook suffered a torn labrum in his left shoulder, which is not good for a running back, right? So he's going to miss at least a couple of games. I'm thinking even more.
Ooh.
Danny Slaughter, loved the comment. Yeah, terrible McCaffrey. But back on the Cook side, he is hopeful that he can return week 15, which is a lot of the fantasy playoffs actually start that week. Just beware since that's one of the big running backs that's going to be out of the picture. And just let these people know we're going to be hitting the waiver wire soon because
Mm-hmm.
Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Aaron
Ooh.
Jones, AJ Dillon, Dontrell Hilliard, Deontay Foreman, a lot of guys that people picked up, for injuries and whatnot, aren't going to be available this week. So that because that's their bye week. Week 13 is their bye week. So that's why we're going to try and dig deep down, give you some people to look. You could always say, go and pick up Alexander Madison. Well, he's 78% rostered
Right.
in a lot of leagues. So he's probably not going to be out there. You can look at Hubbard. Some people that were battling bye weeks might have dropped Hubbard if they didn't have McCaffrey, for the mere fact that they needed space, with a lot of injuries hitting other people. He's out there. Another one that might be out there is Amir Abdullah. A lot of people, if you look at the snap counts, he actually out-snapped Chuba Hubbard, but a lot of that was game script dependent, meaning Amir Abdullah, he's more of a pass-catching specialist. So they were in behind, and even though he wasn't getting a lot of good balls thrown to him from Mr. Newton, he was getting them. He was in there. But Amir Abdullah is actually more likely to be out there and available if you are in need of help. However, remember, they're not playing this week. So that's just something to think about. But we'll get into the waiver wires in a minute. You want to do waiver wires now, Mr. 41? You go studs and duds. Where do you want to go after this?
Oh, no. We're gonna go studs and duds next. That was just
okay.
Producer
giving people a little preview of what's
tease.
coming up.
Yeah.
That's right. I like a tease.
Yeah, and man, we got a major tease coming up in the listener segment.
League.
I can't wait. I can't wait
right.
to see what you're going to do, calculator, in the listener league segment. So
stay tuned is all I can say.
Stay tuned. All right. Okay. Well, any more news when we jump into the studs?
No, those were the main things I wanted to point out to people.
Okay. All right. Well, let's take a look, see what's going on here. So there's some studs for this week. Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette, calculator.
Well, I just want to say I had the unfortunate. I was unfortunate enough to play him in 2 leagues. I can hardly speak because he just crushed me and crushed my soul. The funny thing is, I played him, and I had Joe Mixon in one of the leagues I played against Leonard Fournette.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
Joe Mixon, he lessened the blow, but it just wasn't enough to overcome. Jalen Waddle, I was fortunate to have him. We talked about non-PPR leagues. I have Jalen Waddle in a non-PPR league, and I've had to play him pretty much, every week. He's been an every week starter, and he finally played off. They said he actually set a record for most receiving yards as a rookie Dolphins wide receiver in the first half.
Wow,
so he got most of his yards in first half. And hey, Miami showed why they picked him number one. He's showing a connection with Tua, and it showed off in a big way. Him and Gaskins, both Gaskins could have been on this list. Granted, most of his touchdowns were or most of his points were via touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon got hurt. And the big Debo, when he went out, Elijah Mitchell decided to take the game over. So Elijah Mitchell, a lot of his was due to injury. But hey, sometimes it's about opportunity, how you perform with it. And Mike Shanahan, he wrote his guy. However, if you have ever owned a running back in a Mike Shanahan system, beware, because you never know who might come up next. And Elijah Mitchell, he's not known for his durability either. He's already missed a few games this year because of injury. And Cordell Patterson, welcome back. Cordell Patterson looked like he hadn't even missed a beat. All he does is he plays running back, he plays wide receiver, and he scores touchdowns. He does his job. So welcome back, Mr. Cordell Patterson. Nice to see you on this list again.
Yes, sir. And calculator, man. Cordell Patterson, he really, he showed me something. I mean, he really has explosion in the backfield. I mean, Mike Davis, he just makes him look like he doesn't even belong on the team.
Yeah.
And he's just super valuable. I mean, this came out of nowhere, calculator.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody saw this. Out of nowhere. And I know you don't want to see this again, but there was another picture.
If I see Leonard Fournette's name one more time in the 411, it's like a gut punch.
Oops, there he is again.
7 catches. He had 4 touchdowns all year, Mr. 411. I had to play him in 2 leagues.
Yeah, that is crazy, calculator. But yes, Patterson. He's and then I think he's listed as a receiver and a running back. I wonder how he's going
Yeah.
to be listed next season. I'll be curious to see how he's listed next year. Will he be
Which
listed
is
as
odd
both?
because he is a run back. I mean, he's playing running back. I mean, he's got
Yeah.
more catches, or he had more carries this last game than he had catches. Debo Samuel the same way. He was running stuff out of the backfield. Unfortunately, Debo did have a groin pull, so people watch practice reports. That's why Ayuk and George Kittle is going to be more involved going forward too, if Debo is to miss any time. But again, Debo really wasn't lining up wide receivers as is. He was running back anyway. So but I think they had the game in hand and they just gave him a rest. Didn't want to make it get any worse.
Okay. Before we get to the duds, what about quickly on Josh Allen? What do you think about his
Hey,
performance on
well,
Thanksgiving?
he played my Saints, Mr. 4-1. So that's another reason. I
Man,
didn't want to
man,
lose
this
on
is you just getting
This
blows
was a
everywhere
bad
today.
weekend for the calculator. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, if you look at that, that's not a lot of pass attempts, but he made
It's
them
not.
count.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs come back. A lot of people say, "What's wrong with Josh and Allen?" Well, fantasy points is not a problem for Josh Allen. If you got him, you start him. Although beware, he's got 2 games against the Patriots coming up, and the Patriots they looks like that defense is back. So just be careful if you are a Josh Allen owner. The Saints were able to turn him over a couple of times. They
They
didn't
were.
have the offense to make anything to do with it, to do with those turnovers. But Josh Allen has been. He's not Josh Allen's of last year, but he at any given time he can put up points in bunches. But beware for Josh Allen owners. The Patriots are twice. Josh Allen has to play those boys twice. Coming up,
Yeah.
one of those is going to be in the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough there. All right. Well, enough with the studs. Let's talk
Oh
about
my,
some of the duds for the weekend.
oh my God,
And look
Najee.
at these shockers on here. There's some shockers on here, calculator.
Yeah, well, we always said Najee Harris was game script proof, but I guess he's not Ben Roethlisberger proof because he was awful. And I don't know what Big Ben was doing. I mean, usually when he's in a behind, he'll keep passing to Najee Harris. I don't know if they're arresting Najee or what, but yeah, he did not have that's been really Najee's first real dud of the year because usually even when he's not getting touchdowns, he's getting 5 to 6 catches a game. So, but it didn't work out this way. George Kittle, we talked. I talked briefly on that. This was more of an Ayuk game, more of the game was never really in doubt in the second half, so they just kept running because their opponent. Minnesota decided not to stop the run. They sold out to stop the pass. So San Francisco said, "Okay, we'll do it. We'll keep running." Mike Evans. This was more of a just I don't know. I can't really describe it because no receivers for Tampa Bay. You could put Tom Brady as a dud because he only got double digit points because they just
Yeah.
decided, it was one of those things that we look at game plans and, the Colts, they said, okay, we're going to play 2 deep safety and not let you beat us with your receivers. So that's when Don Brady said, okay, well, I'll give it to Leonard Fournette. I'll give it to Ronald Jones. I'll do the short passes to the running backs because Indianapolis succeeded in shutting down the wide receivers, but they didn't succeed in shutting down the other parts of Tampa Bay. And that's why Tampa Bay is so dangerous. But that is also why Tampa Bay any person on Tampa Bay, hey, the dud next week could be Leonard Fournette. It's going to look at, and we're going to see how the game plan goes. And Kyle Pitts just, I can't explain it. This is more of a again, Cordell Patterson was the game, and
Yeah.
I don't, Kyle Pitts is a guy though. But if you spent draft capital on Kyle Pitts, as much as I hate to say it, you got to keep starting them because there's not a lot of guys on the waiver wire that's going to be able to produce even that sometimes. Another name that could be on that list that, well, I had to start him was Tyler Higbee. I was like, yay, Tyler
Yeah.
Higbee's off the bye week. I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, go back on the bye week, so I have to start somebody else. But yeah, so yeah, if you have Kyle Pitts, you just got to keep starting and hope your other part. And in that one league that I'm in first place, Kyle Pitts is my tight end, but again, I have Debo Samuel, I have Jamar Chase, I have Joe Mixon. I have a lot of other good parts that can make up for that, and that's what you need. But then Kyle Pitts can win a week for you if he scores double digits out of the tight end position. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. And speaking of tight ends, Danny just
yeah,
brought up a good point that Brady was going back
no,
to
yeah,
Gronk.
yeah, and if you look at it, Brady had a pass to Mike Evans, and when Mike Evans he turned around late, went off his head, off the helmet. So then it's almost like Brady said, "Okay, I know one guy I can throw to," and he went back to Gronkowski, and Gronkowski, did his thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gronkowski, yeah, welcome back Gronkowski too. Missing on and off a couple weeks for bruised ribs, but man, he looked good. And Brady, and when you got Brady's trust, he'll keep feeding you the ball. Just ask Leonard Fournette, and then of course Gronkowski.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's studs and duds. And so after you have a bunch of duds, it's time to get to the waiver wire and see what you can do. And also with the injuries and everything. So we're gonna jump into our waiver wire
Wire,
segment. All
yeah.
right.
Oh, and I do want to add. I know I didn't talk a lot about the Thursday game, but Deandre Swift left early as well. So
Yep.
that Jamal Adams, just check your league. He is rostered in 55% of leagues. So a lot of the more competitive leagues, you're not going to find him out there. But DeAndre Swift with a sprained shoulder is going to miss a couple games too. So just look out for that Detroit backfield. But I'm sure Jamal Williams is taken. But if he isn't, hey, go and pick him up. So I'm going to go to the under 50% owned.
Okay.
Boston Scott is actually the top of my league.
All
He's only
right.
38% owned. A lot of people might have gotten a little that and a little you know with Jordan Howard when he came back.
Mm-hmm.
Boston Scott might have been fell out of favor. I kept him in a couple of my leagues just because, hey, when Jordan Howard missed the game, Boston Scott was the other guy that was up, and Sanders limped off in the second half of that Giants game. So then Scott led the team with 15 carries, 64-yard, cashed in a touchdown. Would have had another touchdown if it wasn't for a holding penalty. 3 targets as well. Sanders should be fine for Week 13, but hey, it's clearly going to be a committee. So if Howard and Sanders out, Scott is a must start. If Sanders is out, Scott's more of a flex option. But hey, I listed all those running backs that are going to be out: the Chubbs, the Hunts, the Jones, the Hilliard. So if you can get Boston Scott out there, that's good. Tevin Coleman, we actually featured him last week. Said,
We
hey,
did.
he could be next man up. He led the Jets with 47% of running back snaps for Sunday. Granted, the Jets are very rarely protecting the league, so they might not have that often, but he had 67 yards, 16 carries, had 2 catches for 3 yards on 3 targets. Hey, there's nothing to write about, but hey, and he seeded goal line work to, get this, Austin Walter. Okay, don't go and pick him up, folks. All right, you're not going to see this guy's name a lot. Again, he was in there to give Tevin Coleman so they don't run the old man into the ground. And third downs is going to go to Ty Johnson. But hey, Tevin Coleman should be good for double-digit carries and an RB3 conversation in Week 13. Phillip Lindsey. Yes, your Miami Dolphins picked him up on waivers.
We
But
talked
hey,
about that.
yeah, we did. Claimed off waivers. Put them on your waiver wire, or put them on your radar, waiver wire radar. I didn't say pick them up. We wanted to see where it goes. That's exactly what we saw on the podcast. Well, he carried the ball 12 times in their 33-10 win over the Panthers. Lindsey saw plenty of work in the blowout, which is odd because, I thought Ammon or, Ahmed or whatever his name is would get the work,
Mhm.
but he didn't. It was Lindsey, right? And if he can shed that spark, he could push Gaskin for some work. And with another potential easy matchup, Week 13 against the Giants, Phillip Lindsey could be relevant again. And then, of course, the duo out of Houston, Dontrell Hilliard is 45% owned. Deontay Foreman is 63% owned. But hey, might be a good time to add him this week, even though they're not going to play because they're on a bye. But hey, if you got the roster spot, Hilliard rushed 12 times for 131 yards and a touchdown against the Patriots, 2 targets, and Foreman rushed for 109, 19 yards with 1 target. Well, you know what the Patriots do? They stop your best weapon. Their best weapon at this time is Ryan Tannehill in the passing game. So they say, hey, we'll let you run the ball. We're going to stop Tannehill from throwing the ball. And it worked. And that's why I think they were able to get a lot of room to run is because of Patriots' game plan. Will it work again? We don't know going forward, but hey, they do. Their Week 14 after this bye is a matchup against the Jaguars. So nothing hard. All right, so let's look at some other Week 13. We're going to dive into the tight end, Mr. Foster Moreau, tight end for your Vegas Raiders. Yeah, the expectation is that knee injury that forced Darren Waller, who was out of Thursday game, isn't a serious one. That's why I didn't really list him, because they say it's not serious, but it doesn't mean necessarily he'll miss any time. Watch your practice reports. That's always would leave, but watch the practice report. But hey, if he suffers a strained IT band, my daughter actually had that injury in soccer, and those are very aggravating. It could be a long-term issue. It's possible it could keep him out for Week 13 against Washington, and is that so? Monroe should be on your waiver wire radar. Very interesting option in matchup. He didn't show me much in Week 12, despite 5 targets, but he did have 6 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. The last game, Waller missed with an injury. So just keep that in mind. He has produced when he plays the full game. At quarterback, I know a lot of times we don't like to talk about Daniel Jones, but hey,
he's back.
He's back. I mean, he could be, somebody that you could get after Jason Garrett got fired, right? Specifically with the usage in the running game. The man runs. We talk about low ceiling. Jalen Hurts was awful last week, but the man kept running the ball, and he kept putting, because we love high floors, especially when it's getting a playoff thing. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to start this guy during the playoffs, because he could be very well put up a dud for you, but the man's got some nice matchups. We talked about that in a Barkley scenario at our last podcast, that we like their schedule coming up. So the man can make plays with his feet, so keep him in mind if you are hurting at quarterback. All right. Kenny Golladay was back, right? So, yes, Jones didn't have a great passing day, but I think that held Golladay back. But, hey, he's still someone I want to add if he's on the waiver wire. He caught 3 passes for 50 yards. Pretty pedestrian, but the Giants made a point of featuring him. Anytime you want a featured wide receiver in a team that a lot of times is going to be in a negative game script, you want some shares of that, especially in the red zone where Golladay can excel. So, yeah, more usage will lead to better production. And I got to talk about Mr. Josh Reynolds for the Detroit Lions. They've been actually desperate for a spark. And if you saw on Thanksgiving, Reynolds gave him one. He led the team with 70 receptions and a touchdown on 3 catches, 5 targets. Yes, not impressive volume, but it comes out to 20% of that target share. And we always talk about that's right. Native game script, piece of that passing production, and because garbage points count just as regular as points that as meaningful points. You know what I'm saying? All points are the same, right? So yeah, never showed many more flashes despite having opportunities in 4 years with the Rams. He was cut by the Titans earlier this season, but now he's got the opportunity with the Giants, the Lions. So he is your next man up. Definitely look in deeper PPR leagues.
All right, calculator, good information. All right, and that's when you want to dig deep. So those are some players right there that you could dig deep. And I'll say this: you may have some positions already taken care of, but some of these players that we just listed, if you have any room on your roster, you want to slide them in there. You never know. They may come in handy the following week for you. So, or at least they're not going to end up on someone else's roster. So if you have room to scoop any of these players up, you do so. If not, you roll what you have. All right, it's calculator. You know what time it is. It's time to pay homage to our major sponsor, and that's Heavenly Spa Mobile, 2484 Ingleside Avenue, Building A, Suite 101A. That's Macon, Georgia, 31204. LaTanya can be reached at 478-747-9231. That number again is 478-747-9231. Heavenly Spa Mobile, where relaxation is the key. And the key to our fantasy football is the calculator, right? And but going back to Heavenly Spa Mobile, she is LaTanya. That's our major supporter, and we always thank her for everything that she does. And we'll get into the intro special in just a moment. But for those who don't believe what we just read about Heavenly Spa, let LaTanya speak for herself.
Hi, I'm LaTanya with Heavenly Spa Mobile. I'm a licensed massage therapist and owner. I've been practicing 18 years. If you're in need of any stress relief, tension, muscle, body aches, or just want to relax, you need to get yourself a massage. And please come check me out again at Heavily Spelled Mobile. I'm located at 2484 Ingleside Avenue. And I can be reached at 478-747-9231. Or you may go online to heavyspellmobile.com. I look forward to seeing you soon.
And Mr. 411, I just want to say something. We need to send Christian McCaffrey her way because he needs some help getting healthy, Mr. 411.
Yes, Glass Man. Yes. He needs to visit Heavenly Spot Mobile.
He reminds me of Glass Joe on Mike Tyson's Punch Out, man.
The first level. Yeah,
first level, first opponent. He just falls very quickly.
Yeah, you I mean, set your clock to it. I mean, unfortunately with him, but it's so much of it's a big reward with him, but it comes at a risk, And using fantasy basketball as an example, Anthony Davis comes to mind. Baron Davis back in the day comes to mind.
Oh, Baron Davis, I remember.
Give your first round.
You rode him, Tracy McGrady back in his day too, and he kept getting hurt, and man. Yeah.
So guys like that you have to be careful with, but you take those high risk, high reward situations. But Heavily Spot Mobile, we know that they are one of our big supporters, but Heavily Spot Mobile relaxation is the key. Check out LaTanya because she has an intro special. Calculator intro special. Only $70. First time clients for a 60-minute Swedish or deep tissue massage, and you can go into detail about that. It's not just an hour, right, Calculator?
No, well, it's an hour of the actual massage, but the feeling you get, the feeling of relief you get, lasts you throughout the week. All that stress, especially like I said, we talk about the holidays, we talk about people that are really stressed out because they don't know if they're gonna make the fantasy playoffs or something. It's like, hey, you forget about it for an hour. All you think about is how good that's feeling. And then the whole week is like, man, that was good. It's like a weight gets lifted off your shoulder. So and for $70, that's a deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lacey Dawson she's going to come from Jacksonville, Florida to check out Heavenly Spot Mobile. That's how excited she is about it. So
although Mr. 411, she's probably needing one after what you did to her in the listener league this week.
Well,
I had to bring it up.
What can I say? All right. And I'm sure we're going to get the Listen League segment. Actually, that's coming up next. So, and we can get into those discussions. But you have a huge announcement that's coming up in our Listen League segment.
Yes.
Can't wait for that. But before we get there, Heavenly Spot Mobile. Before we move on, congratulations, Heavenly Spot Mobile, Best of Georgia nominee. I mean, the Best of Georgia nominee. I mean, not everybody can get that. So,
Mr. 411, when you're the best of the best in Middle Georgia, she's just going to the next level. She's just saying, hey, let's go for the whole state.
That's it. And that's how I want to be in fantasy football. I want to go to the next level. So guess what? Notification, listen to the calculator, work your way to the next level.
Like,
in your respective leagues.
Notify.
Absolutely. All right, calculator, it is time. Time to get into our listener league. And that's our league where I'm participating in it. You are, Lacey Dawson, and other fantasy owners. And next season we want to get some more of the listeners to join that league. So we'll be talking about that more and more.
Although it's competitive, Mr. 411, we got to let people know. Yeah, I mean, these aren't some rookies that we might let a rookie in there to try to bet. And we're not gonna make you do bad things if you get trounced. We don't make you get tattoos or ever stand on the corner and in 20-degree weather with a sign or anything. We try to help it. What we try to do is we try to help people along and say, hey, maybe you could have done this differently. And that's what we did on our draft show. We said, hey, this is where we did, and I offer my opinions on what they could have done better, and hopefully they learn from that.
Absolutely. All right. And again, more of our fantasy football shows. Generally, they're on Tuesday nights, but because you hit that notification button, you're able to catch our show tonight because there's some business things that we have to move around from time to time. Yes. But if you get that notification, you'll catch us at any time. But the shows but our show will re-air. It comes on YouTube. And what else does it come on, calculator?
Zingo TV, Mr. 411, Zingo TV.
Absolutely. We thank Zingo TV for supporting the 411 Sports World shows, the Sports Brothers, and all the other shows in between. All right, calculator. Listener League time
Yes,
is coming
sir.
up.
And it was we always like to spotlight our league leader in Captain Cosmo, and we thought it was going to be a blowout, right? We thought he was
Yeah,
playing 11th place team. I was like, he's going to blow that joker out. Well, it was a blowout, but it was just the other way around. So
unbelievable, man.
yeah, hey, so can you share that for the people?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So if people saw, yeah, it was a blowout. Gregory D, the 11th place team, almost broke 200 points against the first place
That's
team.
amazing.
He saved his best for. He says he don't want to play. He don't want to play. He reminds me of a guy that we called him Greg, that used to play, and
Yes.
he would always save his best game for Miss Lacey. He would go to
Yeah.
Lacey. They worked together. He would go to her for lunch and say, if I played you every week, I'd be undefeated.
Yeah,
Because
and he was right too.
because he would always beat her. He'd be sending her messages and stuff. Man, that's like, leave Lacey alone, man. No, but it was all in good fun. But yeah, so Gregory just came and put the can of what on Captain. But Captain's not too worried about it. He's already clinched the playoff spot. I'm just glad because if I can win, I can catch up. I'm not going to beat Captain in total points, mind you, but I can try to win. But I'm still in it, Mr.
Yep.
401, because I still have one person to go tonight. And even though no AJ Brown, no Christian McCaffrey after the second quarter injury, no, let's look at Patrick Mahomes on a bye,
Right.
So a lot of stuff going against me. Higbee, but you know who? Odell Beckham. Big play.
Wow.
Got me right back in it. Also made a last minute. I was thinking about starting Hopkins at field goal, and I said, "Oh no, I want some of that Minnesota game." And I saw Gould was the kicker. I said, "Give me some of that." Tampa Bay. I liked what I saw against Indianapolis. I said, "Hey, Indianapolis can turn the ball over." The one thing is, I didn't start Boston Scott. I didn't start Jacobs because I thought Devery Henderson would have been done better, and he almost did. He had 21 points. So I really couldn't. The move is, the thing that hurt me. I started Gallup Thursday night. He was good. Jefferson had a below par game, but he's a must start. So Higbee, I think we're gonna do good. But for our listeners, what we've been teasing, I'm going to do something that's never been done on a podcast. I'm going to go in our listener league, right? I'm going to my team, right? Because I need to get there, and I'm going to click on drop a player. I am dropping a player on our podcast, and I'm going to drop my number one overall pick. You might be saying, calculator. Why don't you just move him to IR? Well, you know what? I got two guys on IR. So I'm actually using my IR spot for guys that I think could come back. So I'm going to just straight drop. Robert Woods isn't coming back. I understand that, but I like to use the IR slots for people that might come back and help me during the year. I know Christian McCaffrey, this is second stint. He's gone for the year. All the reports are out that they're just going to keep him, especially since they missed the playoffs. No need to bring him back. So I am going, and hey, this could be a move because for the people that don't listen if they're in this league, what if they go and pick up Christian McCaffrey? Hey, you want to use a spot on him? Put him in your IR. Feel free, because I am doing the drop. I guess because I won't be able to do that till tomorrow.
Oh no!
Because he's already played. That's right. He's already played. I played him.
Okay.
So Yahoo stipulates you can't drop until the league has officially been closed. So
what we'll do is we'll just do it again tomorrow.
So
it'll be just a drop.
Straight. Yeah,
drop players.
Okay. But yeah, and it does look like Larry. He is going to try and make a comeback against Seatown Ballers tonight. See who's Larry got going. He's got Lockett going, so he does have a live guy, a live fight in the. Heck, Lockett's already got 7 points, so he's on his way. Hey, Larry, keep it up. See if you can catch your man. pull out a come from behind victory. But yeah, the surprise was definitely the 11th place team playing spoiler to the number 1 team.
Yeah, and it shows you how tough the league is. I mean, when the
Yeah,
11th place
yeah,
team
yeah.
can
I mean,
almost
if you
put
got the
200 on
11th
you.
place team, yeah, you got the 11th place team just and almost like getting 200 points. Like, wow. So,
And I noticed that moves were being made after the show last week too, calculator. So
yeah.
It's paying off for people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else you want to bring up as far as the listener show?
No, that's
about
it.
as far as the listener league.
No, just just gonna be interesting to see what happens tomorrow.
Okay. Well, we're gonna pay attention to tonight's game because there are, like I said, some live players going on. We have Russell Wilson, you have Lockett, you have Metcalf, you have Heineke, which is
Heineke,
special to you.
that's my guy. Come on, Heineke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, even if
And
they get
what
blown
about
out,
McLaurin too?
Oh, well, yeah, he's a live dog too. So, I don't know who else is playing. Oh, I think Faciachi, I think Robert, being the Skins fan he is, has
Yes.
McLaurin.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's still some things to be settled tonight, but
Yeah.
we had to get our show in tonight. We wanted to get information that we had out as soon as possible. But yes, always stay tuned to the injury reports. Remember, hit that notification to follow us so we can give you updates. Send us your questions and comments, and we'll keep it rolling. All right, calculator. We're almost out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can enjoy the rest of your day, and then we can get into tomorrow. But
yeah, I can go on. I can go and watch Heineke and see if he can pull me down from the depths of a defeat.
Absolutely. And if Heineke can come through for you, you need to take a Heineken. Maybe drink a Heineken. All right.
Not a sponsor yet, though.
Not yet.
Not yet.
All right. But look, today's a great day, but tomorrow's going to be a great day as well. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is the birthday of the calculator.
Oh. Thank
so
you.
We're going to go ahead and do it now. Happy birthday to the calculator. All right.
Appreciate it.
All right. Happy birthday, calculator. Hopefully you can celebrate with a victory.
Yes. That'd be an early birthday present if Heineke can pull it off.
There it is. All right. Well, we'll talk about that later on, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right, man. So any parting shots before we get out of here? Any more parting shots before we leave?
No, just like I said, work that waiver wire, get those picks in before your waiver runs, and hope for the best. the draft is never won on draft day. You gotta stay with it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a great day. We thank everybody for watching the show. We thank everybody for listening, and just stay tuned to all the shows that we have. All the 401 Sportsworld shows that we have going. And for the calculator, look, I'll see you again later for Crossing the Lines. So everybody, remember, hit that notification button because you don't want to miss Crossing the Lines as well. Calculator helps you win in more than one way. So Crossing the Lines, check out that show as well on Thursdays. All right. Well, for the calculator, I am Mr. 411. We thank everyone for watching. You have a great night. We'll see you.
Good night, everyone.